Shavua Tov, Chodesh Tov. So we are now on the fourth mishna of the first Pirke Avos, and we are working through the students of Shimon HaTzadik and explaining the Torah Avoda Gemilas Chasadim construct. So we've seen Avoda, and Tiganos Yishocha taught us the proper way to have Avoda, and Yose ben Yoeza Ish Tzareda, Yose the prince who came from the small town of Tzareda, taught us about Torah, how to learn. So now we're going to see Yose ben Yochanon Ish Yerushalayim, living in the big city, living in the capital, is going to teach us Gemilas Chasadim. So it says, Yose ben Yochanon Ish Yerushalayim Omer, Yehi Beisecha Petuach L'Rivacha. Right? Let your home be open, Petuach, right? Open wide, to the multitudes. Let your home be open wide. V'yehu anim b'nei Beisecha. Let poor people, right? The poor, the impoverished, be children of your home. V'al tarbe sicha im ha'isha. And don't increase, don't overindulge in sicha, light conversation, we'll talk about that is, im ha'isha, with your wife. Be'ishto amr, with your own wife, it says, kol v'chomer ve'eshet chavero, even more so with someone else's wife. Makan amr chachamim, thus the chachamim say, kol chamar be'sicha im ha'isha, anyone who's marbe, who is increasing abundantly, who has an upward pressure on sicha with his own wife, says, gorim ra'al atzmo, he pulls along evil to himself, uvolta medivrei Torah, he nullifies the words of Torah, v'sofa yorosh Gehenna, and in the end he's going to inherit Gehenna. So this Mishnah is going to tell us about how to do Gemilas Chasadim. So the first idea is it has to be at home, it has to be personal. That the outside world thinks the way you take care of the poor is you hire the government to do it. Or you want it to be far away. I want the homeless to go live under the freeway, go stay downtown, get out of my sight, stay away from me. I want government institutions to feed them. Other people should look after it. It says that the Jewish idea of Gemilas Chasadim, of kindness and of tzedakah, is it has to be personal, it has to be at home. So he says, Yehi beisecha petuach l'rocha, let your home be open wide. That it has to be something that your wife sees, that your children see, that you see. It can't be something that's remote. In my normal life, I'm me, and when I have to write a check, I write a check. He says your home, that place where you live that's most central to your life, should be open, it should be inviting, it should be welcoming. Now we talked before this idea that the difference between Gemilas Chasadim and tzedakah. Right? We say Torah avoda Gemilas Chasadim. Right? The three tools for your relationships in the world. Your relationship with yourself is Torah, with Hashem is avoda, with other people it's Gemilas Chasadim. There's a curative form of that. You remember we get to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we say, what averts the severe decree? Tshuva, utfila, utzedakah. Right? Tshuva is the reparative for failures in Torah. Tshuva is about yourself. The same way that Torah is about lifting and connecting and improving yourself, Tshuva is about connecting those problems you create in yourself. Tefillah, speaking to God, it's a form of avoda, but it's really reparative. Right? Really, you should do things that bring you close. We'll save that for another Mishnah. And tzedakah is actually a reparative for failure in Gemilas Chasadim. That you can do chesed for people even if they're not broken, even if they're not at a loss. Right? Tzedakah really comes from the word for tzedek, for justice. That if you break a person, if you fail to lift and connect and move a person forward and enhance their lives, then you got to go fix the destruction that you've done, and that's tzedakah. So Gemilas Chasadim is something that steps before that. You can do chesed for a person no matter how wealthy or whole or wholesome they are. Right? Your home should be open. People should see that the life that you're creating is welcoming to other souls and other human beings. Then it says, V'chavi anim b'nei beisecha. Let the poor people be like children of your home. So what does that mean? So when you feed your kids, right, your kid comes to you and say, hey dad, I'm hungry. You don't resent having to feed your kids. You don't resent buying food for your children. You don't resent clothing your children. You don't resent helping your children in any way, educating your children. You don't buying toys, whatever it is. When you look at your children, there's a level of connection and bond. You see yourself in them, and you love them, and you want to give to them. And to the extent that you help your own children, people feel tremendous pleasure in helping their children. That's how you should feel about anim. That poor people should feel that when you help them, you're helping them as if they were your own kids. Right? When you give to them, you shouldn't look at them and resent them and say, get a job. How can you look like? It's like, no, the same way that you want to help your kids, that's an ani. You should look at him and realize, this is my brother, my cousin, my friend, my son. You see yourself in them, and you see connection. You have to see them as your family and want to help them the same way you want to help your own children. The poor people you should help the same way you'd help your own children. Then it gets, right? So far we see tzedakah has to be close to home, and it has to be non-destructive. You can't make an ani, a poor person, feel that you resent helping them, that they're somehow broken or bad or weak or poor, that there's something wrong with them, that they need your help, right? They should take pleasure in the interaction that they've had with you, that you've been respectful to them and kind to them and nice to them. When people come to my home to ask, they come in, not so much now, we're not allowed to let them, but they come in, they get a drink, my children are nice to them, I'm nice to them, and you treat them as if they're your friends and your neighbors and you're happy to help them, right? It can't be destructive. Your kindness has to first be personal, and it can't be destructive. Then it says, make it elevating. It says, al tarbe sicha im ha'isha. So first says, how does this fit? What are they talking about? Al tarbe sicha im ha'isha. Don't overindulge in sicha, light conversation with your wife. So it doesn't say b'miut. You'll see in the 6th parak, when we get to the 48 ways, it's going to say b'miut sicha. You should decrease sicha. We'll see in another mishna, it says that sicha, that the conversation of children takes a person from the world. So that's not what this says. This says al tarbe. It doesn't say b'miut. It says don't increase. So what's sicha? Sicha is light conversation whose purpose it is to create an emotional bond. Right? Sicha is not serious conversation. It's not meaningful conversation. It's conversation that's supposed to create an emotional connection. That's why you'll see a Rebbe, right? He gives sichot, right? Every week, at whatever period, he speaks to his congregation, his talmidim. The purpose of a sicha is not to give the deepest understanding of material. It's to build a connection between a teacher and his students. Sicha is conversation that connects. So it says, al tarbe, don't overindulge. It doesn't say that there can't be any, and it doesn't say b'miut, it doesn't say minimize. It says when you talk to your wife, you have to have some conversation whose purpose is solely to create connection, right? But that can't be the only thing. We don't treat our wives as if they're playthings. We don't treat our wives as if they're stupid. We don't treat our wives as if they're some way intellectually minimalists. You have to have serious conversation with your wife. Some of your conversations should be about business. Some of your conversations should be about Torah, right? That you learn how to elevate your conversation with your wife and create a communion of thought. She's your helpmate. She's your partner. You have to talk to her about serious and deep and meaningful things, not just sicha. But if you don't have some, if no conversation with your wife will kill you, right? There has to be some level when you talk to her that those conversations are just about connecting. It's not about teaching her. It's not about handling finances. It's not about your kids. It's just to look at her and speak to her in a way that she feels emotionally connected to you. So there must be some, but you can't say that's the only purpose of conversation with your wife. There's all tarbe sicha misha. Have enough that you're connected. Talk to her to build a relationship, to sustain a relationship. But beyond that, it's not just idle chatter. Your conversations with your wife are there to create a communion of thought, to bind her to you, that you should think the same and work the same, and you're growing together, and you're elevating her, and she's elevating you. So tzedakah should first be, chesed should first be personal, then it should be non-damaging, and then it should be elevating. This is your fundamental tool for how you deal with other human beings, that you should look at them and say, what's good for you? What can I do to give to you? What are you lacking? What do you need? So poor people need help and respect. Your wife needs conversation and connection, but she also needs to be taken seriously, and she needs to be elevated. She needs to see you as a partner, as someone that's working together, and not just as a plaything, and not just as someone that's, smushy. Right? There has to be more to it. That's why it says, "Be'eshes chavero," right? It says here, "Be'ish ta'amar," speaking about your own wife. "Kol v'chomer be'eshes chavero." Even more so, you should not be out establishing emotional connections to other people's wives. You should not have conversation with someone that is not your own wife, that's going to draw her close to you, that's going to point her soul to your soul, that's going to create separation between her and her husband and draw her to you. if you do such a thing, it says, Makan Amr Chachamim, right? Kol Chamar V'Sicha Isha, a person who does increase and maximize Sicha Isha. So Gorim Ra Alatzmo, you pull evil to yourself. If you treat her as an intellectual lightweight and just as a plaything, if all you have is cutesy conversation, gossipy conversation, flirtatious conversation, if you can't have a serious, meaningful, deep conversation with your wife, if you maximize Sicha, it says Gorim Ra Alatzmo, you're bringing destruction on yourself. It says you can't spend a life with someone who's just cute. You have to be able to talk to them. You have to be able to get through pain and difficulty and struggle. You have to talk about meaning and goal and idealism. You have to talk about significant things. You can't just talk Sicha. It says otherwise you're Boltel Medivrei Torah, and you're eliminating the words of Torah. Torah says she's your Ezer Kenegdo. It says she's your partner and your helper and your opponent. She's the person who's there to stop you from making mistakes, to shape you, to move you. Right? You get married, you stand in the center and she walks around you. She creates the body and constraint of your life. You create an anchor for hers and she creates the shape of yours. To the extent that you take that away and you just want to talk cutie, flirtatious talk, it says you're Mevatel Divrei Torah. You're destroying the words of Torah. And in the end, it's Yorish Gehenna. You're just inheriting hell. Your life's going to be miserable. And kids who see a family where the husband and wife can't talk about anything meaningful, where there's nothing of significance, there's no goal, there's no growth, there's no striving for anything that's higher, those are kids who will be wiped out. And it's just Yorish Gehenna. You'll inherit hell. So that's our Mishnah. Shavua Tov.